9 million Canadian mortgage holders had their personal information scooped by the federal government and then given away back in 2018 without their consent or even their knowledge. And now the federal government is blocking our request to find out how this all happened. Did you know that the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, the CMHC, just handed your credit score, your personal income, your address, and your household debt load information over to, well, I guess, who even knows? And they didn't just do this for people who were customers of the CMHC. They did it for other homeowners too. This happened way back in 2018, and they did it all without your consent or even your knowledge. Blacklock's reporter has been on this story for about 3 years, but here's their news article from back in October. The data mining, the largest yet by a federal agency, occurred without any parliamentary oversight. Records indicate the Office of the Privacy Commissioner was never consulted. Documents show CMHC in 2018 signed an agreement to have the Superintendent of Financial Institutions surrender private financial records on mortgage holders, including borrowers with no CMHC insured home loans. The superintendent collected the data as a routine regulatory matter under the Bank Act and Trust and Loans Company Act. The superintendent, in a 28-page privacy protocol, said it would only surrender records if CMHC obtained borrowers' consent. None was sought, according to files. CMHC instead asked banks to agree to share their customers' information. CMHC also used information from the 9 million individual accounts to provide data to builders, economists, and lenders through a so-called housing data exchange. The agency did not explain if data was sold, but said all personal information was removed before the information was compiled for the data exchange. Oh, so the feds could be profiting from our breached privacy. Well, that's something I want to know about, so I filed for access to information. Here's what we asked for. From the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions of the federal government. We wanted them to provide us all copies of documents, including emails, texts or instant messages, Slack messages, WhatsApp messages, memos, briefing notes, media lines, backgrounders, all under the office's control regarding CMHC's collection of data on mortgage holders since January 18th, 2018. But we actually didn't get documents back. Instead, they took a 330-day extension. Obviously, they think we're going to lose interest here, and I guess maybe they had to reach out to certain people involved in these communications and get their express consent before turning those documents over to me. It's weird how that works, and it's weird how these people extend that courtesy for people who work for them and not average, innocent Canadians who don't want the feds peddling their information and everything about them against their will and without their consent. The delay is no surprise, though. After Blacklock's first got wind of this story back in 2018, the government started blocking their inquiries too. It took them 3 years just to get this far, just to find out how many people were violated by these peeping Toms in the federal government. But we're going to keep looking too. I want to know if the federal government sold your improperly obtained private financial information for profit, while now claiming privacy issues as one of the reasons it's taking so long to give me this information. As you know, these sorts of investigations take time. Obviously, 3 years so far for Blacklocks, and it's going to be a good year for me before I get likely my second delay. And these information investigations take money. We get research help, but filing fees are costly. Can you help us? The likelihood is that you've been affected by this data scoop by the federal government if you have a mortgage at all. To fund our access to information investigations, please donate at our special website for this special fund, rebelinvestigates.com. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. The federal government is blocking my access to information investigation into their scoop of the private financial information of Canadian mortgage holders. I want to know what they did with that information and if they sold it to the highest bidder. However, the government is taking nearly a year-long delay in providing that information to me. If you'd like to help me get access to these records by filing an appeal, please donate at rebelinvestigates.com.